Hello and welcome to the gak.co.uk Guitar Shop podcast. I am your host Mark Packham, who is with me this evening.
Hello, my name's Matt and I'm the manager in store.
And I'm Joe and I'm here for all your bass related issues.
How's it going this evening, gentlemen?
Very good.
Wonderful.
Joe, you're sporting one of the maddest hairstyles I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, it's normally in a hat.
The way that I described it earlier was a cross between Egon Spengler and a man who has strapped a hairy pillow to his head.
The truth of the matter is I was watching Back to the Future the other day and I was like, Doc, great shirts, consistently great shirts, awesome dude, amazing hair. And I was like, I own some good shirts. I'm going to start working on the hair. So all I did was I didn't put my hat on and I realised that I haven't had a haircut in 6 months and my hair's actually massive.
It's so big.
It's only going to get bigger as well. I'm not going to have it cut.
It was like me when I started. Do you remember Matty Knight's Mathro?
The massive Mathro that you're sporting. We need to do some bass videos this week, so I want you to not wear a hat on those days.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to keep this hair.
This is for a good fuzzy tone.
Yeah, we'll definitely get more comments about my hair.
It really looks like you've had an electric shock.
The one time I wore shorts to do a video, we get more comments on the fact that my shorts look like underpants.
They really do.
They had anchors on them.
Big, like, puffy pair of grandad underpants. Something for the ladies.
Years.
So, this podcast was inspired. A couple of weeks ago, we had an email or Facebook comment, I think, from a guy called Mick, who wanted us to talk about Fender and Gibson in 2014. Now, we've kind of done that already, but it is worth, now we've had our hands on some of the stuff, probably worth going over and getting some feedback from you guys on what's come out this year now that we've actually had time to sit and play it. Because a lot of this stuff kind of gets announced, and we never actually get to try it out. But yeah, now we've had our hands on a lot of the Gibson stuff and certainly some of the Fender stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of Fender stuff that's still pending.
Well, let's do Fender first. So, I mean, I was looking at the list, and the main thing this year was their kind of 60th anniversary models, which we've actually had pretty much every one of the range.
Yeah, and we've still got one of the Mexican ones here, and yeah, we've had quite a lot of the other ones as well. They're really, really nice.
So for people who don't know, what does the 60th anniversary range consist of?
So you've got all the Strats, I believe, on the 60th anniversary.
They're all Strats, yeah. It's the 60th anniversary of the Strat.
Yeah, sorry, I was just putting up some information. I couldn't remember. To be honest, there's so many anniversaries. I was like, you know, I do tend to forget. But they do a Mexican one, a Squire one, and an American one, I think. Or no, actually, no Squire one, 2 American ones.
No, there is a Squire one, the 60th anniversary gold classic vibe Strat. It's basically a 54 spec Strat in a gold. For me, that's the one that actually stands out because, like, the rest are really nice guitars, but they're just a two-tone sunburst Strat, which I've seen quite a lot of in the past decade.
Actually, a rare thing for them to add to the classic vibe range as well. They tend to, it's all about the vintage modified range, but the classic vibe rarely receives kind of a new.
Yeah, they've had the similar classic vibe models for a while. Like last year, they introduced things like Teddy Custom, Teddy Deluxe, but no new Strats. I don't think last year. So there is a new one now, and to be honest, it's essentially a 50s classic vibe Strat, but in a very, very bling gold.
I mean, I must admit, the anniversary American Vintage 54 that's come out, so they're limited to 1,954 pieces.
Yes.
Look really nice. They look like a proper, almost like a custom shop. You know, they're 1,700 quid. I think we've got maybe one more on the way. But like proper vintage specs. So 7.25 radius, vintage frets. You know.
Where are you off to, Joe? Some sort of weird noise coming from
outside.
There's
someone drilling or something outside.
Oh, right. Anyway, sorry, Matt, where were you?
So proper vintage spec Strat. So 7.25 radius, ash body, 2-colour sunburst, vintage frets. The only main thing is it's got a 5-way switch on it. But it comes with the 3-way switch if you want to go.
Oh, that's weird. I suppose they did a similar thing when they did the old tellies. The 50.
I'd imagine it's because most people would probably want a 5-way switch and a 3-way switch.
It came the other way with the tellies, didn't it? You got the standard the whatever they called it, vintage light, vintage dark, and then
so on a lot, and then
you could change it to a modern.
Yeah, I mean it's a fairly easy thing to change, but yeah, for tellies they always leave it like standard, the vintage, and then you can change it to modern. But I think it's nice that they've kind of put that on these, and then their custom cases as well, and
very plush
and certificated as well, which is kind of nice.
Oh, really?
Yes,
that's
and
quite good.
We sold our one, but the first 49 or something, or first 54 or something came with like a special neck plate and like a certificate and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, essentially, when we're talking about the 60th anniversary stuff, there's not that much difference from the regular models, is there?
No, I mean, like I said, every couple of years another one will, there'll be another anniversary or something, and I think it's a kind of, as Fender have decided to do. Rather than just like the American vintage, they've kind of decided to pick a specific year. So obviously this year seemed suited to do 54, but obviously there was the 64 tellies last year as well. So they're kind of focusing on like something more specific. But yeah, I mean, in a sense, it's just the most vintage spec'd Strat you could buy really, without going for a custom shop.
And isn't there a 54 custom shop as well, like an anniversary custom shop? I'm sure
which I think is on its way.
Yeah, we've got one on order.
Yeah, there's a lot of new custom shop coming in, which I know 6 pieces turned up today. I think that's on its way along with the Hitmaker.
Yes,
which is also very, very similar in that sort of.
Those are the 2 show pieces that we saw at NAMM. I think our Hitmaker is already gone.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it had. But there's a custom shop one which is obviously relict as well.
Yes,
which looks awesome.
Now, one guitar that is very, very different, and going along with Fender's theme of like past, present, and future Strat. So the 60th anniversary, like they've done the American vintage and stuff, which is the past, and then they're doing things like the anniversary Squires and stuff, which they're calling the present, and then they're doing the future models. And the first one of these that they've announced is the Deluxe American Strat Plus.
Okay.
It's got a plus at the end.
It's got a plus, so it's better. No, the deal with these, and we talked about them a bit, but none of us have had our hands on them yet, is the personality cards.
Oh, I'm excited about that.
So slot in the different switching options. And I think we talked about this a bit already, but gives you, different tonal options from the 5-way switch, gives you different positions. I think one of them allows you to have neck and bridge on together.
Are they going to be based around classic players? So you have like a Jimi Hendrix set of options?
No, I don't think so. I think it's more just like, here's some different tone options.
Yeah, I mean,
so they might call one set like maybe the hot set or something.
I mean, I'm not 100% how it works or how it is going to work.
I've seen one in the
but
flesh.
It is a card, so it's a card.
Yes,
it's plastic and it's a card and it has like a credit card insert.
So it's more like I haven't actually held one of the cards, but I think it's more like a kind of block that you like. There's a little, almost like a 9-volt battery slot in the back of the guitar, and you slot it in there.
Yeah, almost like putting like one of the lithium-ion batteries in the Variaxes,
exactly.
Like a little block
that
goes in the back, but I think thinner than
that.
But yeah, I mean, it's weird because they've sort of they had it demoed, and I saw some videos at NAMM and they were talking about it, but yeah, no one seems to have had one yet. And when I talked to Fender, I don't think they've only seen like one model.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not surprising.
I mean, it's effectively a deluxe, but you've got this extra personality card. So they come with one as standard, and then I believe you get 2.
Do we have
more.
Any indication on how much the additional ones cost? So there are only 3
they
options.
I think there's basically from what I've seen, I've seen like a pack, like a little zip file,
and there was like
6 or 8 in there or something. And there was 3.
But there's only 3 announced.
There's 3 that come back, and then they're going to announce
strange
more.
they wouldn't do like an artist series.
Well, maybe they will.
Well, that would seem like the obvious way to get more tones out of it, to have like an artist endorsed. But how many people play Strats? But
I just think, like, how are they going to fill? Like, what can they possibly do to the wiring on a Strat to fill 8 card slots?
Well, I mean, by the looks of it,
and it can only change your tone options.
By the looks of it, because it's effectively in a sense a normal deluxe. So you've got compound radius board, so 9.5 to super flat 14, 22 frets, and 3 at the end, 3 noiseless pickups. But it doesn't look like it's got the S1 switching. So I'd imagine one of them will just be the S1 options on a card.
Right.
Okay.
So you'll have standard 5-way wiring, and then another one will be.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not changing like the pot or anything. So.
But I reckon it does somehow. I think.
But it can't change the pot from, say, a non-push pull to a push pull.
No, but I mean, what it would do is it would just. I'd imagine this. Obviously, it's some sort of like plug and play solderness connection with a circuit board that then just reroutes how.
Well, that is exactly what it is. Yeah. But then, how if you've only got a 5-way selector on the guitar as your only way of doing it, then how does the cards fit in? How does it fit in?
Yeah, like, Matt. How does it fit?
Tell us, Matt.
Yeah, God damn it.
Well, I mean,
great noise.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea.
This is why we were kind of holding off a little bit on doing this podcast, but a few people have asked us to do it. Like a lot of the Fender stuff, we're still waiting for. One that I have actually had my hands on and did manage to have a quick play with, the triple play Strat.
What's the triple play?
So it's a Strat with the Fishman triple play wireless MIDI pickup built in.
Oh, sweet.
So basically, if you've seen systems by Roland and things like that, like their GK system.
I've seen systems like that, yeah.
Yes. It does a similar thing to those. So it's got a hex pickup in it, so it's picking up each individual string. The clever thing about this is that it will convert your string movement to MIDI and send it wirelessly to Fishman's receiver. So,
technology.
So you don't even have to have like a big cable plugged in like you do with the kind of Roland systems. It's literally just converting that string, sending it through the air to a box that you can then plug into something that will receive MIDI.
How does that even work? I just don't understand
I know, but that's
how things
mental.
go through the air.
Think about that. Gives you option to have your guitar wirelessly routed into any synthesizer.
Yes, I mean it basically means that you could, I'd imagine, go out into a pedal board, into an amp, and simultaneously control like an Ableton rig or something like that as well. I'd be going into. Or what you could do. I was talking to a guy the other day in store who had a massive pedal board and a switching rack system that was all automated by Ableton. So they played along to the drummer had a click track, and then the click track had automation points along that then switched all of his pedals, so he could be on the other side of the stage and the solo would kick in and then all the effects would kick in. So I'd imagine you could do something like that, and as it changed, it would change your guitar tones as well. How mental is that?
Is that your biggest dream or your worst nightmare?
I kind of don't like the idea of not stepping on pedals.
Yeah, I like to keep it hands on.
I just don't like the idea of my sound changing. And he was like, yeah, but I can override stuff. But then I was like, but I also kind of find the idea of playing to a click track slightly weird, like live.
Some bands need it though for the sort of stuff.
I used to do it in my pop band. We used to play to a click track.
But I kind of like the idea of just being able to.
I think it takes a bit of the fun out of the performance. Yeah. Because like part of the performance is like stepping on your pedals at that right time. Whereas like just thrashing out on your guitar and then your sound changes seems weird to me. But anyway, I mean the triple play you could integrate in a system like that. But the key thing for me would be like easy recording, so you can just like fly it over to your computer and then you can kind of just like change that MIDI to be whatever you want. So say you've got like a xylophone sound and you're like, actually we need to get some piano down, just change the sound. And it comes with a load of like software already. I think it comes with like a sample tank.
Oh, that's really cool.
So plenty of stuff to get cracking really, and it means you don't have to have like an extra bulky box like you do on perhaps the Roland systems or some of the other systems available.
Is it just MIDI, or will it take? I suppose it doesn't take audio as well. It's just MIDI, so you couldn't necessarily.
Do you know what? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I'm wondering whether you could MIDI sync it to like something in Guitar Rig, although Guitar Rig's probably audio based only.
Yeah, that's only audio. But I'm sure there's some like a virtual
MIDI
guitar
is going to be limitless. That gives you access to everything.
That's
how much are they hitting the shelves?
Matt Knight?
They are going to be. Let's have a look. Drum roll.
Come on, type faster.
I can't.
Can't believe you didn't have the
triple roll. Now you made me write roll. They are.
That's just the.
Oh, that's just the. Well, maybe we're not.
Yeah, just put triple.
It's the power of.
Come on, Matt. Here. Type faster.
Fender.
I wish I had an arse now.
Wow. You can guess, Joe. Do you want to guess?
Yeah, I'll guess.
So bear in mind, it's a fully featured Strat, humbucker in the bridge.
Right. What humbucker?
Plus you've got this system. What were we saying?
One-er?
Less
than $1,000?
Yeah.
All right.
The Sunburst, which is generally the most expensive finish in the range, 838.
Ooh, I'm liking that. That's a good price for an awful lot of So it's just a standard Strat other than that, obviously.
Yeah,
standard humbucker.
So C-neck, satin C-neck, 9.5 radius, 22 jumbo frets, standard 5-way.
Out of a lot of the things released at NAMM this year, actually, that was one of my favourite, and one of the things where I just think, yeah, we'll do those all the time. You know, we'll sell loads of those because people always come in and ask about MIDI systems, but it's always quite complicated. You've got to fit it to your guitar.
Yeah, retrofitting's a bugger. I would never want to do it with like an expensive instrument, and this one comes nice and readily fitted.
All in, and you don't have to have like clunky setup. It's just literally it just does it wirelessly.
Sweet. Yeah, I love the Fishman idea
because MIDI is it's like quite low file size, I guess. Like the tracking's very good across the Bluetooth. The tracking, the pickup itself is very good.
Worth noting as well, just having a quick hit. There's a mini USB output as well, which digitally transmits all the Strat pickups using an included USB cable, so you can actually USB all the pickups straight in as well. So in theory, you could go into something like could go out into a normal amp and mic up the amp, and then go in via USB and use Guitar Rig and reamp your sounds, and then you could go triple play for MIDI. So yeah, it comes with triple play, IK multimedia sample tank, and amplitude and complete elements as well.
Loads of stuff.
So loads of stuff to mess around with.
Yeah, that's great.
And the tracking's really good on that stuff as well.
Yeah. I saw a demo where a guy was actually doing like real fast like funk chops, and it was picking it all up, and it worked really smoothly. Like I would imagine if you're like sweep picking, shredding, 1,000 notes a second, then you might have some problems. But for everyday stuff and for the bulk of recording that you do, it worked really well.
And to answer your question, Joe, Pearly Gates, Seymour Duncan Pearly Gates in the bridge, and 2 vintage noiseless in the neck and middle.
So quite an expensive pickup combination.
Really great,
It's not just Mexican standard pickups.
No, I mean that's an awesome guitar. I'm looking forward to plugging.
What finishes? Just black and sunburst.
Black and sunburst.
Worth mentioning, they're also doing an iOS Strat as well now, which has got built-in iOS output.
That's so cool. Really?
Flame top. And
of course.
I can't really remember much of the spec about it actually, and there isn't much on the web. But from seeing it in the flesh at NAMM, it's just a little iOS output, little Lightning output, and you always it might even be mini USB. I can't remember.
I'd imagine it'll be mini. I don't know actually. If it plugs into your iOS device, it'd be mini USB to whatever goes into your phone.
Very. So future things afoot at Fender. They've also expanded on the signature range in terms of the guitars. They're now doing the Troy Van Leeuwen Jazzmaster.
I really want one.
What band is he from, Joe?
I don't know.
It's Queens of the Stone Age.
How is it?
Come on,
sweet.
boys.
You're the one I go to for music advice.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I
really like them. They're just.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. It's in oxblood. What a cool colour!
It looks absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Like let's
really
crowd round
nice.
me.
Yeah.
So oxblood, bound and block neck,
torque guard,
Mustang bridge,
and they've changed the little slider where you go from your rhythm and lead sounds at the top bout to just a normal 3-way switch, which is quite nice.
Matching headstock.
Really tidy.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be awesome. And
what's that switch down the bottom there?
That is your normal 3 pickup switch.
Oh, sweet. Brilliant.
And as well, they've put a nice Mustang, like I say, Mustang bridge on there. And his one, I know he actually upgrades it, but the one they wanted to upgrade it to, they couldn't get the licensing for. So,
right, okay.
So they've gone for the next best thing that you can put on there.
Put the Mustang on there.
Right, it looks absolutely wicked.
He's had some good guitars, hasn't he? Didn't he used to have a Yamaha that was like a sort of weird hollow body?
He had that 3 pickup. 3 P91, which obviously you can now get in an Epiphone, like similar. What do they call it now?
Riviera P90?
Yeah, something like that. The 3 pickup one in wine red, which looks almost exactly the same. But yeah, that was a cool guitar as well.
Yeah.
Really underrated because it sounded meaty as hell.
Yes, I think Yamaha always have a bit of a difficulty, transitioning into the artist market, just because they're not really known for it. But apart from Billy Sheehan, obviously,
of course, Billy Sheehan.
But yeah, so he's now come over to Fender, and this Jazzmaster just seems like it's kind of answering what everyone wants, really, just like a super cool looking Jazzmaster, but with a bit of added functionality.
And I mean, it's just, we've said for ages now how popular all offsets are, and I think it's just nice that they're kind of building up on that, really.
Well, in fact, the 3 artist models announced at NAMM on the guitar side of things this year were Troy Van Leeuwen Jazzmaster, which we've not seen yet but looks very good. The new Jim Root Jazzmaster, which is just
I want it
plain black, and it just kind of looks like his Strat and Telly, but in a Jazzmaster form, single volume.
I think the thing that sold it for me was when I saw him demoing and I saw his beard, and I was like, that is the best beard I've ever seen.
Good beard,
and
good
I was just like, yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's a similar thing basically. I think the story came about that I think someone from the custom shop just sent him a Jazzmaster built to his spec in that style, and he just went, yeah, let's just
make it.
Yeah.
And the other one is the Kurt Cobain NOS. It's exactly the same as the regular Kurt Cobain models, but just with a nice finish rather than a beaten up finish.
Yeah.
But we talked about these a few times before. But Joe, there was also some very, very interesting bass guitars across the Squier range, but there's a Fender one too.
There's a Fender
right?
too, yeah, don't forget. Yeah.
What are they? Tell us.
We've got the Troy Sanders Jaguar bass.
Who is he?
He's from Mastodon.
Oh yeah.
Wicked band. So he's put out a Jaguar bass. I think he might be the first person to have a signature Jaguar bass because they're so kind of fresh on the market.
That's a good thought.
I think it is.
I think you might be right. If we're wrong on that, email in podcast@gak.co.uk.
Yeah, I mean and it's not even kind of like, I mean, if you think the Jaguar bass is well new, they introduced it less than a decade ago, but when they made it, they gave it jazz pickups, like 2 jazz pickups. So because that is the first one, I'm saying that's what Jaguar bass is. It's 2 jazz bass pickups. It's just the switching that's different. So you have Jaguar style switching.
But it was active as well.
It was, yeah, but it was active passive.
Oh yeah.
Now, as is Troy Sanders is
he's active passive.
Yeah, he's active passive. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly so. But yeah, it's he's gone for a precision bass pickup and a jazz bass pickup. So kind of the same sort of thing we're seeing in the modern player series Jaguar bass.
Yeah, and also they did some
and in the Squiers as well.
Some specials. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, exactly. So he's gone for a P bass pickup and a jazz bass pickup, just American standard P bass pickup in the neck, and the bridge is just your noiseless jazz bass pickup. It's in Silverburst, which is
always a good colour.
Always a great finish, and really unusual for Fender. They don't, really. I mean, it's a full-on metal bass. So
yes.
Black scratch, Silverburst finish, active circuitry.
So this is Fender and Squier.
He does have a Squier version of this, but this is Fender.
Okay.
That we're talking about the fresh release is his Silverburst Fender. There is a Squier. I'm less familiar with it. I think it was just released in black. I don't think it was Silverburst.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if it's active as well. I think it's more the Squier have just gone for the look, whereas this is very much kind of everything. Everything he plays now. Matching headstock on it as well. Block inlays, rosewood net. It looks really awesome.
Once again, we're talking about signature models. Like Fender just kill it. They just get the right people. Mastodon, incredible band. It's pretty underground. It's not like they're Blink-182 or Green Day or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I guess from a similar wheelhouse like other big metal style bands.
I mean, he'll actually be the last member of Mastodon to join the artist series kind of roster. Because the rest of Mastodon have signature Gibsons.
Oh yeah.
And signature pickups. They're sort of they're getting a lot of stuff at the moment.
Yeah, they are. Well, they're wicked. They make a lot of noise. And that's
nice to see someone other than Joe Bonamassa really hoovering up the signature licenses.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Joe Bonamassa has got signature amp shields, so
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And a signature rock.
Yeah, as we discussed in the video.
That's true. But yes, I'm more excited actually about the other signature bass,
which
is the Eva Gardner Squier P bass. Now, anyone who listens to the podcast might have heard a few weeks ago we did mention this bass, and I said that I didn't know who she played for, which I shouldn't have mentioned again here. I should have.
Glossed over.
I should have glossed over that this week and been like, because do you know what she was? I only remembered it after we did the podcast. I was thinking, Eva Gardner, where do I know that from? She was the first Mars Volta bass player.
Yeah.
My favourite band in the entire world. She never appeared on a record, but she was the first Mars Volta
maybe
bass
that's
player.
why you've blacked it out, because you love the other fella so much.
Well, they've had it was Flea after that. And,
okay.
And then there were another 2 guys that didn't appear on any records until they eventually landed on Juan Aldred, my all-time favourite bass player other than Billy Sheehan. But so Evie Gardner, super cool because she played in the Mars Volta, the single greatest band on the planet. And the P-Bass is totally awesome. It's, I don't know what the finish is. I don't know the name of the finish. It's a really dark royal
it's
blue.
like a transparent, really, like you say, like almost
like a
black.
midnight blue. Black,
yeah.
With a matching headstock.
Have we got an official name on the colour, Matt?
No. Believe it or not. Let's have a
say
look.
on specs or anything.
Let's have a look, see.
But it's absolutely brilliant. So, like, if you can imagine, like,
they say black, but it doesn't look like
it's
black.
not. It's definitely not black.
I think they've just gone, it's this.
Okay, but it's kind of a really, really dark midnight sort of blue, or maybe it's even like a faded black or something like that, like a warm black. Maybe that's what they're kind of going for there. But matching headstock, rosewood neck and a taut guard. And you've even got
logo.
Yeah, that's her tattoo.
Okay.
Actually, she's got that tattooed on her arm, and I think that on the 12th fret you've also got a couple of emblems. She's got those tattooed on her as well, which is really cool. And it's based on her father's P bass that he gave to her, which she originally learnt to play on. And as in her sort of video demonstration for it, as she so rightly pointed out, they're just the ultimate bass guitar. So. She just wanted to kind of emulate that as much as she could. So, yeah, it's really wicked. You've even got the tug bar in kind of the traditional sort of 50s position. It's really cool. Really awesome looking Squier P-Bass. I think it's certainly going to give Matt Freeman a run for his money as coolest P-Bass.
Yeah, black and
rosewood
rosewood and taut.
That's my straight up ultimate P-Bass colour configuration, and a matching headstock too, which is absolutely gnarly.
I was just thinking about if you ever got a signature model and you had to put your tattoos on a bass. It would look terrible.
Yeah, it would look awful. It would be bad. These are bad tattoos.
Oh dear. Well, so that's kind of Fender done, really. I mean, not a huge amount of new stuff this year. Some interesting little bits, but more some like iterations on existing stuff to celebrate the 60th anniversary. The downside is, as usual with kind of NAMM stuff, is we haven't seen any of this stuff yet. Really, we've not had our hands on it. And
why do they do NAMM when they do it every year?
Well, to get us hyped and get us talking about it on
but we forget about it all by the time it gets
chart-topping podcast.
It's funny though how much that then like other new stuff is announced at Frankfurt, and that stuff tends to make it here quicker. So I think NAMM's kind of more like the Expo, where it's like,
Frankfurt's like, here's what you can buy next week.
Yeah.
NAMM is like, here's what you can buy at some point this year.
Yeah, it's like I said when I saw
sometimes
that video,
maybe not.
Yeah.
Sometimes I saw with that video of T-Rex, and they were like, oh yeah, we're making this. When's it going to be out? I don't know. Look, we make it. We made it. Here it is.
On a slight tangent, announced at Frankfurt last week, T-Rex are doing 10 new pedals this year.
Wow.
That's a massive amount to add to the catalogue.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's gone. Tone Bug is all gone.
Discontinued Tone Bug, haven't they? They need to get back on it as well. T-Rex make awesome pedals, but they've been overtaken.
They've had a couple of quiet years,
haven't they? Yeah.
The new stuff that's coming out looks very, very good indeed.
Sweet.
So anyway, to answer the second part of Mick's question, let's talk about the other big one. Gibson. We've actually had our hands on this stuff now, and it was announced a month or two before NAMM. It was just before Christmas.
Yeah, they kind of went, here's all the new stuff, and they almost
didn't try at NAMM. Like, they did a big show at CES this year, the Consumer Electronics show.
They had
Doc Brown.
What?
Playing the ES3 45.
Yeah.
And he towed up in a DeLorean.
Oh my goodness.
The Christopher Lloyd, the actual Doc Brown, turned up in a DeLorean,
Amazing.
Busted out a reissue 345 that it seems like they're not actually even doing now anyway.
Yeah.
So
that's so immense.
They've gone about it in such a weird way this year. They've done that. They didn't really put on much of a show at NAMM. Like, they had a room like down the corridor. Fender take up a whole floor. They had like the broom cupboard down the end. Had some guitars on the wall. We talked about this last week. And they sort of did a bit at Music Messer at Frankfurt, but not very much. They did all their stuff much earlier than everyone else. And what that means is that we've actually managed to try stuff.
Yeah.
So instead of going through every model and kind of talking exactly what's there, I thought we could talk about what you've had your hands on and what really stands out as good, what's perhaps not worked quite so well. Let's talk about the Les Paul Peace now that we've actually tried one.
The Peace.
The Peace.
Let's start with the Peace. Let's get that one out of the way.
Let's do it. So what is the Les Paul Peace for people who don't know?
Well, it's... I don't even know where to begin. All right, so actually, I'll admit...
It does seem like 50 years too late.
I'll admit, all right, it's actually a really nice guitar to play. Yeah. Like, it feels like, like a Les Paul standard.
But they are aware that there's no real sort of prevalent hippie movement at the moment.
So describe what it is.
So basically... Very, very similar to a Les Paul standard, but you've got mini E-tuners on the headstock, 60s slim neck, which is a little bit different to a lot of the other things. So a lot of the other models out at the moment are going for more of that 50s style thing. And then, as they put it, period accessories. So peace signs on the volume and tone knobs.
We should say they're tie-dye peace signs.
Tie-dye peace signs. You've even got little peace signs on the height adjustment for the Tune-o-matic tailpiece, which says peace on it. Don't forget that, because as they say, it is all about the looks. It comes in a series of colours. The colours are brilliant. Let me see if I can find a list of what they're called. Mellow out green, harmonious sunset, peaceful orange.
So I'd imagine it too.
Well, we've got this guitar called the Peace, right? What's one of the colours? We're doing an orange, so we could call it Peaceful Orange.
Placid purple. Tranquility blueburst.
Oh my goodness.
Serenity sunrise.
Wow, those are awful colours.
And the case is made of hemp.
Oh. So basically, if you go out in the wet with this guitar,
I think it's just hemp outer. I don't think it's.
I think basically, what they're going for. It's got 61 humbuckers, which is the new humbucker for this. One of the new humbuckers for this year. 60 slim taper neck. It's a chambered body. I just think they're kind of going for something a bit funky at the same time. It's kind of like, look, you can have a Les Paul standard or this or that, but we also make this.
Do you know what I think it is? It's a term. It's a marketing term that we use. Clickbait. So basically, this guitar is designed to get you to go to Gibson's website, whether you love it or hate it, and look at their website, or look at the social media and look at the stuff that's promoting this guitar, because it's bonkers. And actually, in the flesh, I think it looks a lot better than it is represented online.
The flame tops are really nice.
But it's just such a mad idea. Someone will. It will be the guitar for someone who just falls in love with it, but. It's not going to be. It's not going to have the same appeal as a new standard or a new traditional. Or it's just quite a mad idea, and it's got to be just to get people talking about Gibson.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what band would be into it.
1899, it's
Johnny's band, the Nightworkers. They'll like it.
Yeah, I would have thought so. It's like stoner rock.
Yeah,
sort of
psychedelic stuff or things like that.
It's just a weird choice, but I'm sort of glad that it exists. Like I say, I think it's more of a kind of publicity stunt than it is for me a nice guitar. But someone will love it.
Well, I mean, it's funny really because if you actually look at their lineup is actually relatively small, I would say.
Compared to a few years ago,
they introduced 20 new guitars.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if we're looking at models and we kind of want to run down, so you've got the LPJs again and the SGJs.
Yep, upgraded for this year.
Upgraded for this year. So
I still think they're one of the best value guitars you can buy.
100%. So upgraded pickups, they're uncovered now. They look so much. They don't look like EMGs, with the zebra stripes.
It's just what everyone wanted.
And they do the LPJ and they do the LPM, which is the same with the mini E-tunes, and they do the SGJ and the SGM, which is the same but with mini E-tunes. But they're really good, great value for money. They're $699 for a standard one.
Yeah.
Come with a gig bag.
And to me, they're as good as say one of the Faded Studios that was coming out a few years ago, which were retailing at $1,000.
If not better,
for me, that's the best guitar Gibson are making at the moment in terms of value for money.
And I think with those, I'm just going to double check the pickups on those because these ones... so 61s with the El Nico 5 magnets, so it's like a total redesign. And to be honest, they just look so much better than the old ones that they put on there.
Yes.
And like the vintage machine heads and everything, which is really, really nice. And then after that, I suppose we go into a couple of the different models, or the new models. So we were talking about this earlier, the Melody Makers.
Yeah.
I really like them. I think they're wicked.
They've reintroduced the Melody Makers.
Yeah. Dual pickups.
Oh, they're very different looking from the original Melody
dual
Makers.
pickups. New, I think the Sidewinder P90s.
Yes.
Oh, sweet.
Because before, Melody Makers traditionally have almost had like a Strat pickup in there, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like a real thin single coil.
Yeah. So 50s rounded neck, so nice and chunky, but really nice redesigned.
Oh, sweet! I'd be really into that.
With a wraparound bridge as well, which is quite nice. Which is what do they call it? Compensated.
Someone like me who would want to buy a guitar,
someone cheap.
Yeah, someone cheap like me. No, certainly for someone who doesn't want, or maybe anyone who doesn't want a main guitar, I'd be well into something like that. Yeah. That's exactly what I want.
And do you know what it sounded really good with? Loads of fuzz into a really loud amp. Yeah. If you're into kind of like Doom and stuff like that, they work really well. Just put some heavy strings on it. But actually, for the money, like I say, in sticking heavy strings or using something for slide or alternate tunings, if you need another guitar, they're perfect because they're not tons of money.
No.
And they've got P90s in, really nice sound, satin finish. They come in 4 different finishes.
For me, I just wish they did a junior again.
But
this is almost good enough.
I must admit that if there was a junior, we would probably be selling hundreds by the week. Probably.
But the Melody Maker is good enough, and it's a great starting point if you're looking to get into Gibson for not spend too much money.
Yeah.
It'll give you a really good idea of what kind of Les Paul neck feels like, and just a really good overview of what playing a Les Paul is like, but you don't have to deal with quite so much weight and perhaps not quite so much bulk.
Yeah. And then I suppose on bits that have been sort of maybe relatively disappointing this year, I say disappointing, the only thing that I've been slightly upset about is the fact that, and I've had it a lot of people, the SG standards now only come with mini E-tuners.
Strange decision on Gibson's part, because obviously SG is a very, very classic guitar, very classic design, and it seems weird to me that they're now only offering them with the robotic tuners.
Yeah, it's a strange choice, I should say.
It does seem weird because that is still quite a love-hate sort of thing.
Well, yeah, and I've got quite a lot to say about robot tuners later on in this podcast, but despite
I love SGs. I just want to be able to buy a normal one.
Well, the thing is, it's been quite a big story that you haven't been able to buy a standard SG without these tuners. But at the same time, Gibson have also kind of sneak introduced some other really wicked SGs that just have normal tuners. So Derek Truck's Signature, which looks like a really good 61 style SG.
It's got the proper bridge on it.
Well, it hasn't actually. It's just this tailpiece, so it's cosmetic, but it looks really, really nice. Plus, also, there's like a limited edition 61 SG, is that right? Or 61, they're calling it the 61 Les Paul.
Yeah,
but it's the
something
SG
like that.
shape.
And there's also the SG Specials as well. So they not only do they do the SGJs, they've got the SG Specials as well.
Which are much more stripped back SG, no scratch play, just normal tuners, normal bridge, nothing kind of out of the ordinary.
Like the old SG Specials, I suppose, in a way, with the ceramic pickups.
They almost, to me, kind of look a little bit like, do you remember like the Paul from the 70s? Yeah, the more stripped back SGs, like stripped down finishes.
Yeah.
So they're actually a really cool guitar, and there are other options for SG buyers, particularly those 61 Les Paul named SG guitars that we've got in stock at the moment. Like, if you just want a really, really wicked guitar, and you want an SG, that's the one to go for.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are some really good things, and with Gibson, they do bring out the occasional odd model that might come in sort of mid-year as well. So, not sure what might come out later on. And then, so obviously, then you've got upgraded standards for this year.
The new Classic is the one that I like.
Yeah, it's a good move bringing that back because they were always popular before.
Yes.
And they just come in some nicer, sort of cooler looking colours. So new 57 Classics.
What's the neck profile on there?
They are a 60 slim taper on those ones. Because I think what they've got is they've got the traditionals, which got the 50s, so they go for the classic, they've got the 60s.
Yeah.
Because they used to, I remember when I started, and they had classics with a 50s or a 60s neck.
And then standards with the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, and then it was just like, oh, which one's this, which one's that? They felt so similar, and now you can go, look, you want a 60s neck, here's a classic. You want a 50s neck, here's a traditional. If you want something more modern feeling, here's a standard with an asymmetrical neck.
Yeah, that it's taken a long time for them to get that kind of neck situation
and it comes
in order,
in seafoam green and lemon burst. I mean, that's good move.
You get a guitar that looks like the Slash, basically.
Yeah, or looks like the Peter Green.
Yeah,
do you know
yeah,
what I mean? That's just such a good move because the colour does make a big difference to a lot of people, in terms of it makes it instantly more appealing. And there's some bass stuff as well.
There is, yeah.
Talk about the bass, Joe Branton.
Okay, well we've just seen a few a bit of modernisation really for the basses. So nothing new, just sort of slight spec changes. They've introduced the SG Special, which did exist last year, but it was called the SG Faded.
Yes.
So they've introduced a few extra finishes. It does look slightly different, of course, with all of these things. I assume it's the same with guitars. You've got this 120-year block inlay on the 12th fret.
Actually, it's worth pointing that out real quick. That's been a real... I'd like to know what other people's views on it are, actually, really, because it's
a very visible place to put something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've had people go, oh, well, it dates the guitar instantly. So, like a year down the line, you're like...
What, like the serial number?
Well, no, but I think in people think in terms of I think people think it's going to affect the collectible value somehow.
Yeah. I don't think people should be worried about that. I think whether you like it or not aesthetically, it's not going to have any bearing on that.
No, exactly.
Maybe that should be our question of the week this week. If people want to get involved, just email podcast@gak.co.uk. Where do you stand on the 60th anniversary logo on the Gibson 12th fret?
The 120th.
60s
That's
Fender.
what I said. 120th.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
Keep up, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so the SG Special is kind of like matte finishes. They all look really nice, especially the kind of the walnut finish they do looks absolutely incredible. So same pickups as you get in the standard series, but you've got dot inlays instead of blocks, and then these matte finishes. I think they're wicked.
I'm surprised I don't know. I could see you playing a...
I really like SG basses. If I was going to buy a Gibson bass, it would be an SG bass. I'm well into SG basses.
Did EBs get a bit of an upgrade as well this year?
They certainly did. Yeah, they certainly have. So they've maybe kind of tried to make them almost slightly more modern, slightly more standardised with what modern basses are like. So it's now gloss finishes instead of matte finishes.
Yep.
They kind of everything. They introduced I think they were kind of putting feelers out there last year with basses. We got a lot of stuff. We got things like the grabbers and a few other sort of random basses kept appearing,
throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks.
They were always matte finishes, and the finishes were always okay. But when Gibson are sort of rushing stuff out, the finishes were okay, and they were just feeling the water. So this year they've decided, we're going to run with the EB bass because it's doing really well, and as it should. It's a great alternative to Fender, and it ticks all the boxes that most Fender style bass players would be looking for. But so this year gloss finishes. Annoyingly, they've discontinued most of the finishes I really loved. They got rid of I think Sunburst looks really great in a satin finish anyway, so it's a real shame for them to lose that. Sunburst is still there, but obviously now in gloss. And they got rid of black and white. And because both of these were satin finishes and kind of almost through, both of them looked incredible. They also had torque guards on the 2013s.
What are they now?
They're black. All black guards now. But now you've got a natural finish, sunburst finish, and they've introduced a red. I can't remember what the red's called. It's like a dark red. It's kind of like Fender's Dakota red, but I don't know what the Gibson colour equivalent is. And
sort of like Dakota red, but not really Dakota red.
Wine red, maybe wine red.
Yeah.
And the other colour is bullion gold.
Oh yes,
they've introduced, of course. Which great. So bullion gold, black scratch plate. It looks brilliant. And they've kept the Babbage bridge, which must be expensive to source for Gibson, but looks absolutely brilliant. So everything else has stayed the same on it, and it's still pucker.
So, in a kind of a summary, really, to answer Mick's question and kind of sum up what's going on with the big two this year, would you say that things are certainly moving forward? Gibson are trying some more out there stuff. Fender are trying some more out there stuff. But is that kind of the same as every year?
I don't know. I mean, in a way, actually, I would disagree slightly in the fact that I think that Gibson are playing it relatively safe.
Yeah.
They sort of, they've got some new models, but they've kind of upgraded stuff, which is cool. They're moving forward, they're updating their technology, but they've kind of not gone out there. And it's a shame they're not doing any of the kind of extreme shapes.
What? Yeah.
V's and
V's and Explorers.
No, but it's cool. This will mark the second year that they've run with that, and don't you think that's a good idea? They've got such a massive catalogue in their standard models at the moment. They've got loads and loads of options, loads of finish options, loads of pickup options, loads of neck options, everything going for all those standard things. Everyone's really into that at the moment because you can get so much choice from them. They'll give it, another year or two more, bring back the Discovery series, and pow! Everyone's going to be like, God, it's been ages. It's been ages since I've been able to have an Explorer or a Firebird or a Flying V, and then everyone will want one. It's so genius. Gibson have absolutely... Fender are going to have to watch out because Gibson have got it at the moment.
Yeah, because Fender don't seem to discontinue anything. They just kind of bring
Well,
new
I don't think they're
out.
ever going to discontinue the Strat or the Telly. If
Well,
that's
no,
what
but I
you're
mean,
saying.
in a sense, like discontinue like specific...
Well, they do.
models.
The Jaguarillo, I think, is on its way
Jag
out.
Stang, yeah.
Jaguarillos are still current.
Okay. Well, those kind of more pawn shop stuff they do for a limited time. The Fender Cyclone. The Toronado.
Yes. My mate's got a collection of weird offsets. He's got a Toronado, a Cyclone, a Jag Stang.
Cyclone
amazing.
2.
No, I don't think he's got one.
Cyclone 3.
Is that the three single
core one? Yeah. It was a strange time.
What's that? Early 2000s?
Yeah, they were. So I know that the fact that they were around that time because they offered them in graffiti yellow, which I could.
Brilliant colour. All I wanted was a graffiti yellow guitar. I think you could get a graffiti yellow Tom DeLonge.
Yeah,
Here was a good
Strat.
one. So about 5 years ago, we commissioned Fender to build some custom shops for us. We were like, let's do like the GAC special. Graffiti yellow, matching headstock, red torque guard with Fender big 70s amp knobs on it. It looked just like the front of
It actually
GAC.
came in, didn't it?
Yeah, we had a couple. I remember
What? They
when
didn't
someone
sell?
bought one.
Yeah.
I mean, when we say they sold, I assume our owner Gary Marshall bought them.
No.
Actually, you say about also. I remember you telling me that when the bigger part of when the main part of the shop opened, Marshall commissioned some limited red. Were they red amps with yellow Tolex?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they built like 2 or 3 specifically for us for the opening because we probably had one of Marshall's biggest accounts at that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, we still do. I think we still.
And I mean, that someone out there has got one cool looking Marshall.
I know exactly who owns it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's someone in a punk band, isn't it?
No, it's not someone in a punk band.
Really?
It's someone who just happened to, buy a lot of Giftmas around that time, and they bought that, and nice little thing to have,
Yeah, great.
Sweet.
So there we go. So Mick, I hope that kind of answers your question. I hope anyone else who is kind of interested in Fender and Gibson, as you all should be, hope that clears a few things up about what's available this year. 2 side notes quickly. Firstly, Gibson are not this year. They don't have any plans to build anything left-handed, which I think is a big downer on the Gibson side of things.
That's
Not at all.
No,
What?
they've still apparently got so much 2013 stock left that they don't need to build any.
fair
They've
enough.
got enough.
Yeah, because I saw that there
They
was some
did do-
LPJs that have come in and stuff like that as well.
They were probably the best brand for left-handed bass gear last year.
Yes, well, I mean, they did so much last year that they're not doing any updates at
Fair
the
enough.
moment.
That's okay.
And also, you talking about Tom DeLonge remind me that a few weeks ago you talked about a Squier Mark Hoppus.
Did I?
Yes.
Okay.
It never existed.
Didn't it?
No.
Okay.
I did some research because I felt slighted by you in the podcast.
Did I mention that there was one? Oh,
Yeah.
weird. Okay. I think I'd seen one. Maybe like I think I'd
Dreamt it?
No. Oh, maybe I did. Oh.
Maybe that should be our question
sure?
for next week.
Yeah.
Weirdest shop dreams.
Okay.
Also worth noting that if you want to get really anarchy about specs, Gibson even lists what sort of adhesives they use now.
Hide glue.
I've noticed that they've done that for a while.
Yeah.
On different models, they use different types of adhesive for different joints. So, if you really want to get in depth, you can.
Should we do some staff picks?
Let's.
Matt Knight, what have you been playing this week?
Matthew Knight.
Great.
I wish I had a little
Knight.
ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Do you know what? I'm going for.
What?
Well, so we're talking Fender and Gibson. I think I should talk about two of the coolest things that I've seen that came at Frankfurt from Custom Shop. So I thought, I'll keep it high end, I'll keep it Fender. And we've got a really nice Custom Shop coming in, which I've not got a huge amount of specs on, but I had to pick it because of the colour, because I've never seen this colour combination before, and I was like, it is awesome. I saw a really rough, camera phone photo of it, and it's Olympic white over burgundy mist.
Yes.
Oh.
And there's just something about it that looks absolutely amazing.
Burgundy mist is probably my favourite Fender colour.
I got Steph, who's our Fender purchaser, early said we had 6 Custom Shops turn up today, and he was like, we've got some battered guitars upstairs. These are super heavy relics.
Yes.
And another one
awesome.
in drab olive. Similar, not similar to the Gibson one though, but it's like a relict metallic olive colour, but the undercoat they use is like Lake Placid blue, so it's like a mixture of blue and a weird green.
Wow, like a sort of undersea finish.
Yeah.
This sounds amazing.
The Octopus's Garden finish.
Wow.
I'd imagine. I don't know. It's just that's what it reminds me of. Something like you say, under the sea. But both of them really nice. And we've got some other cool sort of stuff coming in. Like I said, the 54 and the Hitmaker, which I think was already sold. But those two really stood out for me because, as far as I'm aware, they've got the Josefina pickups in, which is the Abigail Ybarra protege.
Yes.
As she is now left Fender, and she's been making pickups for a while, and now she's kind of taken over as the one to have. I think the early ones will, the one. I think there'll be the pickups to certainly try and get hold of now, the early ones.
Yes.
You never know. She might do 50 years worth of service at Fender as well. So.
I love that baton has been passed on.
I like the fact they thought about it years before she even retired.
I have to retire soon. Let's train up someone else so we can stick her name on pickups.
I saw that they actually made her a Strat.
Did they?
Yeah, one of the master builders built her a Abigail Ybarra custom Strat with all hand inlays and stuff. And I think she won the pickups for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing like a busman's holiday.
Yeah. But I thought I'd just point it out because I wanted to note that we're getting a lot of cool stuff in that's new specs, and I think they're the Custom Shop stuff is coming through a little bit quicker now. I think I can safely say that.
We've had a big influx of new Custom Shop recently after waiting a while for that to happen.
I think they've I can't really go into the depth of it because I don't know a huge amount of the ins and outs of the details of Fender's working, but I think they've managed to work out a way that America get all of their stock, but we get a certain percentage across Europe.
Okay.
So that orders are coming in quicker, we can prioritise stuff. So at the moment, there's a 4 to 6 month turnaround, I think, generally. Sometimes a bit longer, but there's...
Down from 18 months at one point.
Yeah, but also, like you say, we're just getting some really good stuff in at the moment. So I haven't really picked anything specific, but there's some. If you're thinking about it, there's some good stuff coming in, on the way. That's definitely worth trying.
Check the site, I guess. Really, all the Fender Custom Shop. We're redoing the vault section of the site at the moment. So there's going to be loads of we're going to try and go a bit more in depth on spec and photos and stuff like that. So. Our high-end guitars are going to get a little bit more love on the website in the coming weeks.
Some more videos and stuff for that. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Joe Branton, what have you been playing?
Yes. Well, okay. This is a moment. This is a moment because I think this is my favourite staff pick ever.
I think you say that every week.
No. But this is the 51st podcast, and on this 51st podcast, I haven't been on all of them, so it's probably about the 45th, 46th.
I have.
You have been on all of them, but I'm second. I've been on the second most. Anyway, this is my favourite staff pick ever, mainly because, unlike most other staff picks, I'm genuinely going to buy this staff pick.
I don't believe it.
Don't spoil the magic.
I am going to. I just need to sell some stuff, but I'm going to buy it. Okay, so my staff pick is the Hofner violin bass cavern spec. Now, it's one of the HCT models. So these are kind of the more affordable series of stuff. More affordable than their German made, but it's still their premium line within their Far Eastern stuff.
They're Korean made,
Korean,
right?
yeah, that's right. Because they obviously do their Ignition series, which is their entry level. So this is kind of their mid-range of stuff, which suits me fine. And this is their cavern spec violin bass, which is awesome. What makes it cavern spec is that the bridge pickup is not in the bridge; it's in the middle of the body. So you've still got a neck pickup above it, and then the bridge pickup bang in the middle of the body, which the reason it's called cavern spec is because that is the spec of Paul McCartney's first violin bass that he had, which
it got stolen.
It got stolen, yes, and he then switched to the regular sort of pickup formation that we know him for now. But and the reason that I prefer this one, you could say, well, that's a similar pickup arrangement to Billy Sheehan. So I'm blending two great things there.
You definitely are blending.
But two, it's in the middle of the body, which means I've got somewhere to anchor my thumb. So it's a violin bass that fingerstyle players can play, which is wicked. And I was playing it earlier through a 1,000-watt Terrabass head, and I couldn't really clean it up. It was so.
Those amps don't clean up at the best of times, but a big honking humbucker in the middle position.
Two humbuckers like on full, and I had it in solo mode as well, and it was just like it's come strong with flats.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think they're quite cool basses, and I've listened to some Beatles stuff through the amplifier because I was demoing how good the bass response is.
Yeah,
and let's putting some Beatles stuff on. You forget how complex actually some of Paul McCartney's bass lines actually are.
Second best bass player ever.
Who's the best?
Not done.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Geddy Lee.
Billy Sheehan is first. Anyway, so this is absolutely wicked. It's only £579, and it's totally wicked. The build quality looks absolutely amazing.
I mean, that's crazy considering the German-built ones are a lot. We've got a second-hand one at the moment, which
for
is
£1,200. Yeah, so second-hand one.
Yeah, so the American ones are probably like
German.
Sorry, are going to be close to.
They are close to £2,000. Yeah. But yeah, this is. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I would love. I think they get so pigeonholed because of Paul McCartney, almost in a bad way. But I'm going to get one, and I'm going to use it in my really heavy math band because I think these things are going to sound awesome.
Going to break the mould.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd worry about is feedback.
Don't say that.
I would worry
for you, Joe. Really?
Well,
no, I don't think
a lot. I mean, they're fully hollow.
It's going to be fine.
I don't know how much of a block there is. Hang on, Matt's going to tap it.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be fine.
Centre block.
I'm going to be fine.
Yeah. And you've got
it's going to be fine. Yeah,
there are indeed 3 switches.
I like switches.
So we're saying that, yeah, I don't know. I would worry about that. But
it's just a violin bass with a pickup in a different place. But yeah, I know, and I know that's a concern, but it sounds absolutely brilliant, and I think it's going to be awesome.
Is the headstock logo different to the regular one as well?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's right.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, it's a great headstock logo. So the logo is kind of taking over the whole of the headstock in sort of vertically written Hofner symbol in a big sort of. It's a really sort of like 50s looking kind of symbol. It's one of those sort of like 50s newspaper advert kind of symbols. The sort of almost handwritten sort of. It doesn't look quite font-esque.
Yes, I'm into it in a big way.
Yeah.
And being a Paul McCartney fan, nice that option is available.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Totally brilliant for £579.
Gents, I had my mind blown this morning.
I know what yours is. Really?
I had a long session with Tronical with Tronical tuners.
Right, wow.
Now, Tronical are also a German company who produce robot tuners. So, basically, auto-tune guitars. We had Peter Honore in from Westside.
I love Peter Honore.
He's great. From Westside Distribution, who distribute Tronical and Boogie, as well as a load of other stuff. Martin, for one. And we were shooting some video showing, firstly, how to install the Tronical tuners, and secondly, how they actually work. 2 things struck me. Installing them is really, really easy. almost easier than putting a normal set of like Strat machine heads on.
They fit into like standard Grover sort of.
They do. So basically, what you need to do is you go to their website, say I've got this type of guitar. Then they give you a little template to cut out and put it over the headstock of your guitar, basically, and work out whether that particular set of Tronical tuners will fit. I think they do like 25 different shapes or something.
Wow,
he had like a key ring, and it had like all the different cutouts on, and there was tons.
Yeah,
I'm almost certain that Tronical say there's very, very few guitars out there that it probably wouldn't fit.
Yeah, he even gave me a percentage today. It was like 5% of guitars that won't work with one of their systems. So, so they'll fit to any guitar pretty much. And Pete actually bought in a Strat with regular tuners on it, and then we filmed him taking those off and then putting the new Tronical set, including the like battery pack and the kind of hub on the back of the headstock.
How long?
It took him probably about 5 minutes.
What?
To do the whole thing.
I thought you were going to say like 15, 20.
No, it was like 5 minutes-ish to just quickly take off the first heads and put the Tronicals on.
Sweet.
The other thing that struck me is how light they are. Like when I had
that is the concern that everyone has with these.
Everyone thinks, especially on like Gibson style guitars, like oh, this is going to make my guitar neck dive because it's going to make the headstock so heavy. But actually, I had the handful of the Tronical tuners, including the little battery pack, like the actual brain of the operation, and a handful of Fender tuners, and there's so little difference. Like the actual heads themselves, the Tronical heads were lighter than the Fender head, which is bonkers because of all the stuff that's in there. And yeah, so we just had a kind of play around, and I filmed him doing alternate tunings and stuff with the Tronical heads. I think they're incredible.
It's amazing. I've just seen here that the guy has only founded the company. He only founded the company in 2005.
Yeah.
Like the technology and advancement in that like 10 years is incredible.
Yes.
Like I was saying to Peter, like when we were doing a video on it, the original robot, when the first robot came in, and it sort of all blew our minds that it had the auto tuning, but it was like slow, but we only realised it was slow when the what was it? The Dust Tide. No, the one after that, the Dark Fire came in,
Gibson Dark
and it was
Fire.
faster. And then we were like, oh yeah. And then the Dust Tide, we were like, oh, it's even faster. And then like the Mini E-Tunes, and we were like, this stuff is mental.
So the Mini E-Tunes are actually made by Tronical.
They're actually made by Tronical. Like I think. Tronical always made the pickups, even for the early ones, like the Robot and the Machine Head. Sorry, but they only went to. And the company was formed, but now they do it under the Tronical name, so they all say Tronical on the back.
Right, okay.
And they're all made. I think they're either made in Germany or they're outsourced. But the quality is just like absolutely bonkers.
So Pete showed me a few things. Firstly, he showed me how quickly it can get to open tuning if you're a bit out of tune, and you literally hold down the button, strum open strings, and it will just tune up for you, and it worked really well. He also showed alternate tunings. So if you want to do the classic Keith Richards tuning or like a Dadgad or something. Again, push a button, go to the right bank, select that tuning, strum the strings open, and it just whirs all the strings into the right tuning. And also stringing up, which I didn't realise. So they've got like modern sort of locking heads on there. Feed the string through, string's floppy, obviously. Push the string up button, it will just whir really quickly up until a point, and then it will go like, okay, actually we need to just take a bit more care, we're almost up at tension. And then it gets to that point and it goes a bit slower. This is all happening automatically, and then it will just get you in tune, standard tuning. And it takes like 10 seconds.
I quite like that idea.
From literally putting the string into the machine head, locking it down, push the button, and then it does it. Incredible. Restringing is so boring.
Stage side tuning.
Oh yeah, like that. But like restring is so boring.
Yeah, I mean, I realised the other day, I don't think I've restrung my Strat in maybe 3 months.
That's alright. No, I suppose,
not for,
oh yeah,
not
I forgot you boys are.
Well, I like strings getting older. Hey, I broke a bass string, restringing my bass the other day. Oh, I know.
Restringing it. Yeah. So not even like.
No, I know.
How did you manage that?
Okay, well, I was taking the strings off of one bass and putting them on another, but I'd only put them on a couple of days before. I put on a really heavy gauge string on my P bass. They were too heavy and everything was clipping out. So I thought I'd put it on this PV that I'm fixing up for someone at the moment, so I just took them off quickly and wound them on the other one. Broke it.
Did you tune it up too high?
No, it's when the strings have become coiled at the top, so when you're trying to recoil it, they get wound round too many times and it just snapped. It's 20 quid.
Surely you get paid for that for each of these podcasts.
Oh, yeah,
so.
Exactly.
Right, we've just had one question this week, so let's crack on with that. It's from Vince via email. He says, "Hi guys, love the podcast. Keep up the good work. Last year I purchased a Squier Bass 6 after the back of listening to the podcast. I was really impressed by the quality of the bass, so I was thinking of maybe getting a Squier P bass. You guys are always saying how great P basses are. They are indeed. So thinking of taking a punt on one as you got it so spot on the Bass 6. Going to be using the bass for Motown/soul stuff, and I was thinking of putting some flats on it. Which model would you recommend? I was looking at the Classic Vibe 60s P bass in Fiesta Red. Joe Branton."
Boom. Well, yeah. I mean, Vince has kind of answered his own question there. They're absolutely brilliant. This is Vince from the band Auto da Fe, actually. I think who are a great band. I don't think they're doing anything anymore, but a really good band. I got to play with them once. But yeah, the Squier Classic Vibe 60s precision bass is wicked. I used to own. They previously did exactly this model in a Sonic Blue with a white scratch, and I owned that. That was my backup bass for years. One of my most regretted sales, I think, because I think these Classic Vibe series, they're going to be the sort of Japanese 80s Squiers of tomorrow, sort of thing. They're such excellent build quality and such great bits of kit, and it's exactly the spec of the P bass that I play. Well, yeah, other than my P bass has a maple neck, but Fiesta Red with the torque guard is an absolutely killer finish, especially for 60s stuff, especially with flats. Everything about that's going to be, especially with flats, it's going to be very Pinot, which is perfect.
Yeah,
for what Vince wants it for. I think they're absolutely brilliant. They are 364 quid, which is a relative sum of dosh tosh for a Squier. But I do also think there are kind of some options in the vintage modified series. I mean, Vince obviously he suggested this one, so he's quite happy with the price. But I do also think Squier do some great P basses, kind of right down the range. I mean, I certainly think if you're thinking about putting flats on it, you might want to consider a fretless. They do a really nice fretless precision bass in the vintage modified series in a sunburst with a torque guard and an ebonol fretboard for like less than 250 quid.
Is the telly bass still available?
The medium scale telly bass, do you mean?
No, I mean
you mean the 51 style P bass sort of thing. So it's not 51, is it? Because you've got the contours.
No,
the body.
Neck
you mean
humbucker.
the telly bass? Oh, I totally forgot.
A Telecaster bass.
No, I don't think they have discontinued it. I think it is still kicking, but whether or not it's had an upgrade, the only thing that I didn't like about it was they went to all the effort of, it was
I know what you're going to say.
What?
Satin neck.
Satin neck.
I liked it. I don't normally like a satin neck, but that bass was rocking.
It was a great instrument. Really brilliant idea. I don't know why Fender don't do it. Give us a slab-bodied telly bass with just that one pickup in the neck. That's what we want. That would be awesome. If they did that, that would be all I would play.
So, we're saying probably the Classic Vibe 60s is the way to go. I mean,
there are others. There's a Vintmod PJ at the moment that you can get in sunburst with a black scratch.
Hasn't
really,
quite
really
got
nice.
that classic.
Not quite. It's
literally
more 70s.
that classic vibe.
Yeah, exactly. It's still
Nice.
really good, and it's still a lacquered neck on those. I think they're wicked as well. And then of course you've got the Matt Freeman as well. Very, very similar spec to the Classic Vibe, but with a maple neck, slightly higher output pickups, and great finish.
We've recommended it before, but I mean, I would say even for like a Motown thing, still go with the Matt Freeman.
Oh, of course, yeah. I think the Matt Freeman's absolutely
best bass
brilliant.
for under 500 quid.
Oh, without a doubt,
across the board.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree with you. But and I think that's probably about it for the P-bass side of things. I mean, they still do their really nice kind of 55-ish rough sort of reissue. Also in the Classic Vibe series.
Yeah.
They just the 50s P-bass. I think they call it a P-bass rather than the telly bass in this case.
Which is like a slab body, but it's contoured.
Yeah, contoured. So kind of modern shaped body, but with that single coil.
Yeah.
Pickup bang in the middle of the body, butterscotch, black scratch. Really great, big, deep, thick, heavily lacquered maple neck sort of thing. So they're really great as well. But kind of all those things are really, really good. I think you could aim at any one of them. But yes, the classic vibe is kind of the cream of the crop there alongside the Matt Freeman. If you want to spend a little bit less money, I think consider the vintage modified PJs or the vintage modified fretless P.
Excellent. I'm going to throw my hat in on it. I just think go for the Matt Freeman. It's so good.
Well, but I appreciate that the 60s is a rosewood neck. You're doing that, because you.
But you can get a thumpy, decent Motown sound off a maple board.
True, I do agree that. I do agree with that. But this is like a rosewood board. You could put flats on it. The way this will work with flats is just very, very year specific.
It'll be mellow rather than thumpy.
Yeah, exactly. Which
yes.
I think is maybe slightly better.
Gents, let's wrap this up. Vince, I hope that answered your question. If you have questions for us, we're always happy to answer them. podcast@gak.co.uk. Or you can send them via Twitter, which is Twitter, or not Twitter, well, yeah, twitter.com/GAK_co_UK, or as it's 2014, @GAK_co_UK. Or on Facebook, facebook.com/GAK Music. Or you can send questions to me. This week I want to hear about your favourite Super Nintendo games, or why the P-Bass is the best thing ever made. @Mark_random. Matt Knight, how can people get in touch with you?
You can tweet me, Matt_90. That's Knight with SIE on the end. And let's talk about the upcoming Jay and Silent Bob tour in the UK. Let's talk about that, and the fact that I am thinking about going for some rack gear. I just do I try and hunt down some crazy?
Do you delve into a rack? Is that what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying. Do I delve into a rack?
Not the country.
Not the country. No. Or anyway, you can email me matt.knight@gak.co.uk. That is generally actually the best way to get hold of me usually.
Joe Branton.
Yes, you can find me on http://
PP.
No, you can email me on joe.branton@gak.co.uk, or you can get me on Twitter at Yosef_900. I'm still really into niche metal at the moment, really into niche metal, and was really pleased to discover that to coincide with me being into niche metal, Japan have had this wonderful baby metal revolution, which I am really into. I think it's well good. So if you want to talk about how awesome baby metal is, then yes, talk to me about that. Or also,
didn't we discuss this last week? Because I recommended you Canis, which is the hardcore metal band that have got a dog singer.
Yes, yeah, you did recommend. You did recommend Canis to me, but this is totally different. We didn't talk about baby metal. Baby metal are going to be absolutely awesome.
Matt's gone. Oh.
Yeah, Matt couldn't deal with it. Yeah, the dog singer band called Canis. Definitely, yes, check those out. Oh, but also, actually, I want to talk about Arctangent bands, because that's coming up, and there are some wicked announcements. St. Pierre's Snake Invasion have been announced, who are one of my favourite screaming bands. So, check those out as well, and talk to me about them.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us this week. I've no idea where Matt's gone, but we'll say bye for now.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Farewell on your travels, you must go forth. Yes, be gone with you. Be out of here. You've got things to do. You must go to work. You must finish your walk in the park. You better boil that kettle and make a cup of tea. Go on, do it. Don't sit around listening to us, old bucks. Hello, it's me, Joe Branton. I've come back from the future to tell you and your younger friends against all the things that will happen because of what you've said on the podcast. You must be careful. Your words will be documented for years to come. So remember, try not to sound like such a bunch of prats.